The Dynasty might be dead, but Curry's time is not over. Let's see what we can do on this edition of The Nest. Hello everybody, welcome back to The Nest Star XP. My name is Robin, welcoming you back as we continue to rebuild NBA teams, and we're moving on today to the Golden State Warriors, a team that kind of disappointed in the play-in and now have a big question on their hands once again. Do they continue to try and compete with old Curry, old Draymond and such, or do they look to a full rebuild? And it doesn't look like Curry's going anywhere. Curry's likely going to stay with the Warriors no matter what. But that leaves the question of, do you have the talent necessary to compete, and do you give up the rest of your future in order to try and compete? And that's the big question today that we will be going into. But before we get into it, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you check out all the Instagram and TikTok stuff for daily playoff content and daily short form content, and also just make sure to subscribe so you can check out all the other teams that will be rebuilding this offseason. So the Warriors have been the talk of the town, at least for a while there, and then they kind of died down a bit because of the conversation with Kawhi possibly going to the Warriors. And while I have said in the past in my Clippers video and some other videos that I don't like the idea of Kawhi going to the Warriors, or at least I don't like them overpaying for him, I had to bring it up here as a possibility for them to do because I've made some better trades for them. But once again, this trade will look something like this. You can obviously trade for Kawhi and Malik Monk from the Sacramento Kings, and the trade will look like Kawhi and Malik going to the Warriors, Sabonis going to the Clippers for a first-round pick and a pick swap, and the Kings will acquire Jimmy Butler, Brandon Podziemski, and a first-round pick. 3 first-round picks, well, 2 first-round picks and a pick swap technically, but regardless, 3 picks for that. I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's overpay for Kawhi Leonard, who isn't going to be around too much longer. He can give you a year or two of quality play if he plays. So that's why I'm not a big fan of the overpay. Kawhi is one of the most talented players in the league. Don't get me wrong. If this was purely based off of his talent, this would not be enough. But the fact that he is aging, the fact that he has had his injury history and things like that, I don't think this would be worth it, and I wouldn't do this if I'm the Warriors. Instead, another option I looked at, which I also talked about in the Phoenix Suns video, I believe, is trading Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks to the Suns for Jimmy Butler, Brandon Podziemski, and a first-round pick and a pick swap from 2027 and 2028. I don't hate this trade from the Warriors because you keep this year's pick and you get a young guy in Jalen Green and then a veteran in Dillon Brooks, both of which who can help you compete now and later. So I like this trade. I'm not a big fan of Dillon Brooks and Draymond Green being on the same team. That was the only thing that I was hesitant towards because I feel like that's an incident waiting to happen, but I don't think this is a bad move for either team. I don't know if the Suns would be willing to take on Jimmy Butler's contract like that, but getting 2 first-round picks out of it I think would be huge, especially if they're giving up Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks, and they're getting back Brandon Podziemski, who is a young player, but his contract's also been a little bit of a topic of it's not good either. Regardless, there is this third option I drew up specifically for this video that I think is possible. It's just a big question of if either other team wants to do it. And the Magic haven't said a lot, because this involves the Orlando Magic. The Magic haven't said much about trading Franz Wagner or anything like that. But I am, like I've talked about, I do believe that they should trade him and look to move off of him. So in this trade, I have the Warriors making a trade like that. But what does the trade look like? Let me explain it, and then I'll get into my thought process with it. So the trade would look like the Magic acquiring Moses Moody, Dillon Brooks, and the 11th pick from the Warriors. The Warriors will acquire Franz Wagner, Jalen Green, and the Suns will acquire Jimmy Butler, Brandon Podziemski, a 2027 pick swap, and then the 2028 first-round pick via the Warriors. So why this trade? Why would any team do this trade? Obviously, the Warriors, they give up 3 picks, and they get a young guy in Franz Wagner and Jalen Green, both of which who can still help them compete now. The Suns, it's same as the previous trade with the Suns. They get Jimmy Butler and Brandon Podziemski back, and they get first-round picks out of it, and all they have to give up is Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks, both of which who may help the future and they may help them now, but if they're going to rebuild, this is the trade that they would do. But why the Magic? The Magic need to clear cap space, and if they're clearing off Jalen Suggs as well, regardless if they're getting Jalen Suggs off their books as well, getting Franz Wagner off their books will open up a huge bit of cap space, and they get back Dillon Brooks, who fits their style, who fits their system a little bit. He's a little bit better of a stretch player, but he can also be that defensive presence that they also like to play with. And then obviously Moses Moody, knockdown shooter, they need shooting. He's a perfect fit for them, whether he's probably going to play off the bench either way, but when he plays off the bench. And then they obviously get a first round pick out of it that they can also use to either draft someone and can keep their young core, or they can trade it again and get another shooter or another young type player or an older veteran player, or maybe an upgrade if they wanted to trade that pick plus Jalen Suggs and get a guy like Drew Holiday or get a guy like Scoot Henderson or someone that fits their system and youth a bit better. But other than that, that's all the trades I would make. It's just a matter of making some signings, because obviously you trade all your picks in this process, and just getting a bunch of free agents, which you don't have a ton of cap space, but you can make a couple of good signings. So first off, I would definitely re-sign Guy Santos and Quinton Post, core pieces of your team. Like Steve Kerr said, I think Santos is going to be a great player, or at least a good role player for a long time. His energy is invaluable. Quinton Post, he's a stretch big. You can always use a good stretch big, especially at 7'1", 7'2", I believe. He'll be good for you. And now for the non-re-signings. Obviously, well, I would also re-sign Gary Payton. I should probably mention, yes, definitely re-sign Gary Payton. Never let Gary Payton walk. The big name I would look to go sign if I'm the Warriors is trying to get Isaiah Hartenstein, which originally, before they announced that they did want to re-sign KP, I had KP in the spot. But since they don't want to re-sign KP, I had them, okay, let's go and get Isaiah Hartenstein. He's the best center on the market. But there's a ton of options that you can do in this instance if you don't want to overpay for Hartenstein a bit, if he's even released by the Thunder, because I think he has a team option. So if you can't get Hartenstein, if you don't want to re-sign KP, you got Jay Huff, you got Nikola Vucevic, you got all types of guys like that you can go and sign any one of those guys. But for this instance, I have them doing Hartenstein to a 3-year, $40 million contract or something of that nature. And then you just need to sign a bunch of people to the minimum. I would definitely sign Kelly Olynyk. I think he can be a good backup four for you. Kind of plays in a Draymond-esque role. I think he'd be a perfect complement for when Draymond comes off the floor. You put Kelly Olynyk in, and he plays perfectly. He's also a veteran, and he's also cheap, which is what you need. Then you sign Bruce Brown Jr. to a 1-year minimum as well. Same deal. He's a veteran. He's got championship pedigree. He hasn't played great last year or two, but at the very least, he's a veteran, and he can play, and you know that he's got championship pedigree, so that's why I would go and get him. And then I would also sign Cam Thomas to a 1-year minimum as well. And this is kind of just in case of the Bruce Brown situation. So the way I think about it is Bruce Brown is the safe option. He's someone that you know is going to give you energy. He's going to give you slashing ability. He's going to give you defense. And some good IQ as well. That's what he's going to do. Cam Thomas is the risky option where you can go and get him. He may give you a ton of buckets. He's not going to give you any defense. You know that for a fact. But if he can give you enough offense to be valuable, you can play him over Bruce Brown, and boom, you have a team. You have your bench scoring option as well. But regardless, you have both of them in case you wanted to play off either one of them. And if you play Cam Thomas and he's just not scoring, take him out, put in Bruce Brown Jr. And it's just a matter of what you need on each given night. So that's why you go with that. And other than that, that is about it for the Warriors rebuild. Obviously, the big thing is like getting a guy like Franz Wagner who can be not like your future, but can help now and in the future for this team. And now the team would look something like this. Obviously, Stephen Curry running the point guard position as always. Jalen Green running the shooting guard position. Franz Wagner running the 3. Draymond Green running the 4. Isaiah Hartenstein, or whatever center you get, running the center position. Gary Payton running the backup point guard, or backup center really, I should say. Will Richard running backup shooting guard. Bruce Brown Jr. running backup 3. Guy Santos running also backup 3, backup 4. Kelly Olynyk backup 4, backup 5, and then Quinton Post running backup 5, and then you get Cam Thomas as well for spot minutes. So you have a deep team. You got a ton of guys that can play. It's just a matter of what you need each night, and that's what I think the Warriors need. If you can't get the high talented players like you really need, what you need to do is you need to go and get these quality minimum contract players, and you just need a lot of them that you can play off of each night. So if one's not playing well, you play the other one instead. So that's what I think the Warriors should do. But that's about it. Let me know what you think of what the Warriors will do, or what do you think they should do this offseason, because they obviously have a ton of questions. The decisions with the future of this team are constantly in question, and I'm really curious what they end up doing, and I'm really curious what you think they should do in the process. But let me know down in the comments down below, and make sure, again, check out TikTok, check out the Instagram, just help a brother out, because I try and make that content for everyone, and I'm not just making it for me. I want to make it for you. So just show me that you are enjoying it, and show me that you want me to continue making it. And if you don't, let me know what you'd rather me make. Just let me know in the comments down below. But until then, y'all, peace.